episode 9, the penultimate episode of Offbeat.
For this season, at least.
We'll unpack that later, but for now, the headlines. Take it away, Felicity.
Thank you, Kendra. In the world of arts, the Dax Centre Melbourne is offering arts programs and exhibition space free of charge for people living with mental health issues, psychological trauma, and neurodiversity. It offers 35 artists a 12-month program to build creative expression and social connection regardless of experience. Applications are now open at thedaxcentre.org/studio-dax.
How wonderful. Speaking of a presenter who bungled up their job.
Oh, yeah, that is a good one. So Channel 7 reporter Matt Doran has been suspended for 2 weeks after admitting to not listening to Adele's newest album, 30...
Wait, why the suspension? I mean, nothing against Adele. It just seems bizarre.
He said it to Adele's face during an overseas interview which cost Channel 7 $1 million.
So saying botched the interview is pretty much an understatement.
Pretty much.
I just hope we don't stuff up that bad when our super duper mega guest comes on our next episode.
Ooh, who is it going to be anyway?
We'll also unpack that later.
In film news now, Rogue Rubin, an incredible Melbourne-based director, created a fake online identity to infiltrate the organisation of trophy hunters. Rogue Rubin risked her life as she posed as a photographer and joined these trophy hunters in Africa to expose the practices of hunting and killing lions.
This extraordinary sacrifice is documented in her new film Lion Spy, which is out now.
You know, I was inspired by this. And over the weekend, there was a nefarious group that engages in very shady activity that I felt was overdue to expose them for who they really are.
Wow, interesting. Which group did you want to expose?
The Over 70s Knitting and Sewing Society for Single Grandmothers on Facebook.
Huh?
This group is horribly ageist.
Right.
I tried to join their group and they wouldn't let me, so I created a fake profile of a person that would fit the stereotype of an old person.
Okay.
Yeah, I pretended to like old people things like oatmeal and handbags, but they still wouldn't let me.
Don't give up.
Oh, I won't.
Recently, the opening of a $50 million 5-storey museum took place at Shepparton. I love me a good museum, and apparently this one contains fascinating collections and exhibitions that provide a cultural insight into the history of Shepparton. Now, I'm not going to be the one telling you about it. No, we've brought on our correspondent, Arthur Gallery, who will be telling both you and I simultaneously about the new gallery. Hi, Arthur.
Hi, Kendra. Please, just call me Art. I think you're really going to love this story.
I'm sure I am, Art. Let's start with the $50 million building. It sounds amazing.
It is. So they actually had to build it really high for 2 reasons. 1. The surrounding landscape is made up of mostly flat forest comprised of river red gums, which makes it so that it would tower over the surrounding landscape like a temple of culture that you notice immediately on the drive from Melbourne to Shepparton. And 2, they had to build it up rather than building basements because the building was actually built on floodplains.
Wait, what?
Yep. So they couldn't deeply embed the foundations and build a basement, which presented a really interesting logistical challenge because most museums store their collections in the basement, so instead their collections are stored on the 3rd floor of the building.
They built this kingdom up from nothing. When they started, all there was a swamp, nothing else. And the king said they were daft to build a castle in the swamp, but they did it all the same.
Right, yeah, okay. So anyway, because their collections are stored on the 3rd floor, they've built an open and transparent environment in the museum to reflect a welcome and inclusive atmosphere, both behind the scenes and in the public spaces. They've also embedded display cases specifically designed to house their ceramics collection, which is intended to be stored in the museum permanently.
And when they built the castle, just to show them, it sank into the swamp. So they built a second castle that sank into the swamp.
Okay, Kendra, I'm going to tell you about some of the artworks being shown in the museum right now. The museum is located on Yorta Yorta country, so they're really looking to honour the history of the location as well as the surrounding natural landscapes. They have over 4,000 artworks, 4 gallery
And
space.
then they built a third castle that burned down, fell over, and then sank into the swamp. But the fourth one didn't. It stayed up there.
One of the galleries is named after Yorta Yorta artist Lynn Onus, and the People's Gallery is actually hosting the opening exhibition, Lynn Onus, The Land Within, which is the first significant showing of his artwork on country. They also have over 60
And that's
other
what you're going to get, lad. The strongest castle in the land.
Kendra, are you even listening to me?
Say it.
Kendra, we're talking about a really interesting, significant cultural achievement for the community of Shepparton.
Say it.
Lynn Onus' son, Tariki Onus, spoke at the launch of the museum about the opportunity to see his father's work displayed in the museum for the first time ever.
Say it.
But I don't want any of that.
Rather what?
I'd rather just sing.
Stop that. You're not going to be doing a song while I'm here. I want to hear more about Tariki Onus' speech.
Really? So you were listening to all that?
I'm a multifaceted person. I can appreciate Monty Python and Shepparton's art history.
Okay, so reflecting on the floodplains that the museum was actually built on, Lynn had a lot of artwork depicting the landscape engulfed by floodwater. And in fact, whenever the Barmah Forest was in flood, Lynn and his son would make a pilgrimage up there to photograph it.
That's really interesting. Thanks for the chat, Art. And if you live or plan on visiting Shepparton, you know exactly where to go. And you might as well listen to Monty Python and Holy Grail on the car ride there.
Can I sing now?
A new web series has hit Australia titled Please Explain, starring Pauline Hanson.
No matter who you support in this ever so confusing national politics, one thing's for sure is that this series is going to confuse the hell out of everyone.
Please Explain has been criticised for being a comedic show disguised as political propaganda. Reports claim that it tries to exploit your brain, with each episode as Pauline Hanson as a teacher in a classroom filled with Australian politicians as students.
And whilst it may seem like this series is poking fun at Australian politics with satire, unfortunately watching the video makes the backward-thinking, medievalist, people-hating ideology into a little fun comedy.
Where's Porter?
Christian Porter's suspended, Peter.
These 2-minute videos will appear on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram and Twitter for very, very excited demographics who will definitely be voting for her after watching these videos.
It's being produced by an independent animation studio from Melbourne named Stepmates, run by 2 men named Mark Nicholson and Sebastian Piet. Their website says they want to make Australia funny again, a not so very subtle reference to an infamous American leader.
With shows such as Regular Old Bogan and Holy Moly Australia, the sketches that these duo create are clearly aimed at only entertainment purposes. But when a huge politician like Pauline Hanson offers you a large sum of money, I'm sure anyone would be willing to make a few unethical jokes to paint one person as a true blue hero.
With attitudes that align to the white Australian policy, anti-immigration, anti-climate change, and so much many more, we wonder if Hanson's attempt to control her narrative will end up causing her One Nation party to thrive.
Only time will tell if animating xenophobia that takes us back to the Stone Age is really worth it.
Okay, Craig Kelly? Craig, no phones in class. Who are you texting?
Nobody?
The life of colourful furniture salesman Franco Cozzo has recently come to the screens in a new documentary, Palazzo di Cozzo. Famed for his gaudy furniture and low-budget but memorable TV commercials, the Italian-Australian salesman's life story has not been told until now. Palazzo di Cozzo has been met with warm reviews, and it got us thinking if another famous TV salesman could make the jump to the big screen.
Hi Screen Australia, I'm Jim Moore from your next great Australian film, and have I got a deal for you. You've already brought the life of Franco Cozzo to the screen. It had great reviews and played to rapturous audiences at the nation's film festival. So why not make a movie of more colorful TV salesmen? I've acquired the life rights to some of this content. I've acquired the life rights to some of this country's greatest ad spokesmen, and I'm passing on the savings to you. If you like cleaning products, excitable Queenslanders, and oversized satin shirts, then the life story of Big Kev is your ticket. Kev McKay shot to fame selling detergents on the Bert Newton Show, and his story will shoot straight to your heart. I'm excited, and you will be too. But wait, there's more. Most people wouldn't think to promote their white good business by pretending to suffer from acute mental illness. But most people aren't Ken Bruce. This is a spine-tingling story about Melbourne consumer product salesman who dresses up as Madonna, gets at his taboo-busting, low-budget, late-night commercials, rock out ironically to the song Tism wrote about it. Fund these movies in the next 30 minutes, and I'll even throw in a 6-hour documentary series about the Australia Day Lab ads of Sam Kevovich. You know it makes sense. All for the low price of $12 million.
I'll take them all. I don't want to miss out. I mean, Screen Australia should take them all. I don't want them to miss out.
Moving on from Australian icon Franco Cozzo and other pictures for stars in the works, we'll be presenting the news of another popular Australian figure in the media landscape.
Who is it? Please let it be Keith Urban.
Nope. For the first time in over a decade, Australian director Jane Campion has released a new film titled The Power of the Dog on Netflix.
Ooh, okay. I love Jane Campion, but wait. Isn't she from New Zealand?
No, you must be thinking of someone else. Maybe the New Zealand famous singer, actor, director, musician, Russell Crowe?
Have you lost your marbles, Kendra? Russell Crowe isn't a Kiwi. Haven't you seen The Water Diviner? He's an Australian farmer.
That's called acting. Russell Crowe was just pretending to be an Australian, even though he's a Kiwi in real life. Maybe you're getting confused with the director. I'm pretty sure it was an Australian director that directed that film.
Oh, it says here that the director is also Russell Crowe.
Don't worry, Felicity. They can have him. At least we have singer Lord.
Sorry, what did you say? I was just too busy eating another Aussie delicacy known as a pavlova.
Pavlovas are not Australian.
They are, and don't tell me otherwise, okay? Also, the same with my precious Lemingtons.
Wait. In breaking news, according to my very reliable Facebook mothers group, Lemingtons and Pavlovas are actually Australian.
Oh, yes, they are. And also, in another exciting plot twist, it turns out that Jane Campion is also an Australian.
But what about Russell Crowe? How will Australian culture thrive without him?
Don't worry, we still have Jacinta Ardern.
I guess that's the moral of today's story, is to never trust the deceptive people from New Zealand. Only trust academic sources like Wikipedia and Facebook Mothers Unite for consistent and real Australian news.
Hey, that's all we have time for in today's episode.
I also have some very sad news. Offbeat will be coming to a permanent close at the end of this season. The last 2 episodes that you see this season will be the last of Offbeat ever.
Don't worry. We'll be setting the show off in style with one truly amazing guest for our final episode.
We'll also be hyping it up on our socials, so make sure you check your channels. It is truly groundbreaking television.